You're staring at your screen again, 3 monitors glowing in the dark. Your coffee's gone cold. You've been at this for 6 hours straight, and somehow you're exactly where you started this morning. Maybe even a little bit behind. Sound familiar? Listen, I need to tell you something that nobody wanted to tell me when I was burning through my savings account thinking I was just one pattern away from cracking the code. There's a phase in trading that swallows people whole. It doesn't discriminate. It takes the Harvard graduate and the high school dropout. It takes the engineer with the spreadsheets and the artist with the intuition. And the really terrifying part: most traders don't even realize they're stuck in it until years have passed and their accounts look like crime scenes. The industry calls it different things. Some call it the learning phase. Others call it paying your tuition to the markets. But here's what it really is. It's a psychological trap disguised as education. And if you're in it right now, your chest probably just tightened up a little bit because you know exactly what I'm talking about. Let me paint you a picture. You started trading because you saw something. Maybe it was a friend who quit their job. Maybe it was a YouTube video of someone showing off their winning trades. Maybe you just hate your boss and wanted out. Whatever it was, you got that feeling, that electricity. The markets suddenly seemed like the answer you'd been looking for your entire life. Freedom. Control, unlimited potential. Finally, something where your success wasn't capped by someone else's decisions. So you dove in. You watched the videos. You bought the courses. You memorized the indicators. RSI, MACD, Fibonacci retracements, moving averages, volume profiles, support and resistance. You learned about candlestick patterns. Hammers, shooting stars, engulfing patterns, dojis. You studied chart patterns. Head and shoulders, double tops, triangles, flags, pennants. Your browser history became a graveyard of trading strategies. And then you started trading for real. Maybe you won a little at first, that beginner's luck that hooks you in deeper. Or maybe you lost right out of the gate. Doesn't really matter because what happened next is the same for everyone. You entered the phase. Here's what the phase looks like from the inside. You wake up and immediately check the markets. Before you brush your teeth, before you say good morning to your partner, you're checking what happened overnight, what's moving, what you missed. During breakfast, you're scrolling through trading forums and Twitter looking for ideas. Someone made $50,000 on a single trade and posted the screenshot. Your stomach twists. Why can't you do that? You get to work, but you're not really at work. You've got your charts pulled up in another window. You're taking bathroom breaks to check your positions. You're distracted in meetings because you're thinking about that support level that price is approaching. You're supposed to be writing a report, but instead you're backtesting a new strategy you read about last night at 2 in the morning when you couldn't sleep because you were thinking about the trade. You lost yesterday. You get home and you're exhausted, but you sit down at your desk anyway because the New York session is closing and you need to prepare for tomorrow. You analyze what went wrong today. You tweak your strategy. You adjust your indicators. You add a new filter. You remove an old filter. You switch timeframes. You try trading with the trend. Then you try counter-trend trading because maybe you've been doing it wrong this whole time. The weekends are the worst. The markets are closed and you feel lost. You spend Saturday watching trading videos. You spend Sunday backtesting. Your friends invite you out, but you decline because you need to prepare for Monday. Your partner asks if you're okay. You say you're fine, you're not fine, you're obsessed. But it's not the good kind of obsession, it's the desperate kind. Here's the thing nobody tells you about the phase. It's not about not knowing enough, that's what you think it is. You think if you just learn one more strategy, read one more book, watch one more video, take one more course, then finally it'll click. Finally, you'll be consistent. Finally, you'll be profitable. So you keep learning, you keep consuming, you keep searching, but knowledge isn't your problem. You probably know more about trading right now than 95% of people who have ever opened a brokerage account. You could teach a college course on technical analysis. You could write a book about market structure. You know things that would have seemed like a foreign language to you a year ago. Your problem is that you're stuck in a loop. And the loop works like this. You learn something new. You get excited about it. You believe this is the missing piece. You test it a little bit. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. You move on to the next thing before you've given it a real chance. Or you stick with it too long after it's clear it doesn't match your personality. You're either jumping ship too early or going down with it too late. There's no in-between. Meanwhile, your account is telling a story. It's not a story of steady growth. It's a story of chaos. Big win, 3 small losses. Break-even week, big loss, couple small wins, another big loss. Frustration trade that wipes out 2 weeks of progress. You're on an emotional roller coaster and you can't get off. Green days make you feel invincible. Red days make you question everything. You're either a genius or an idiot depending on what happened in the last 20 minutes. Let me tell you what's really happening here. The markets are showing you something about yourself that you don't want to see. Every losing trade is a mirror. Every time you break your rules, every time you overtrade, every time you revenge trade, every time you move your stop loss, every time you take profits too early because you're scared, every time you hold onto a loser too long because you're hopeful, the market is showing you your unresolved psychological patterns. That impatience, that's been with you your whole life. That fear of missing out, you felt that in high school, that need to be right. That's your ego and it's been running your life for decades. That inability to cut your losses, that's your relationship with failure, and trading didn't create it. Trading is just exposing it under a spotlight while charging you money for the privilege. Here's what's really wild. You could have the best trading strategy in the world, and you'd still be stuck in the phase if you haven't dealt with yourself. There are profitable strategies everywhere. Moving average crossovers work. Breakouts work. Mean reversion works. Momentum works. Price action works. Even throwing darts at a board could work if you manage the position correctly. The strategy isn't the secret. Managing yourself is the secret, but that's not what we want to hear. We want the strategy. We want the edge. We want the secret indicator that the professionals use. We want to believe that somewhere out there, someone has figured out the code, and if we can just find it or buy it or learn it, then we'll finally be free. So we stay stuck. We keep searching. We keep learning, we keep consuming, and the years pass. 1 year becomes 2, 2 becomes 3. Your account is roughly the same size it was when you started, or maybe smaller. You've basically been volunteering at a very expensive casino where instead of free drinks, they give you cortisol spikes and sleepless nights. Your friends stopped asking about your trading. Your family thinks it's a phase you're going through. Your partner is worried about the money. You're worried about the money too, but you can't stop now. You've invested too much. Time, money, ego. If you quit now, what does that say about you? That you're a quitter, that you're not smart enough, that you're not disciplined enough. That you're just another statistic in the 90% of traders who fail. But here's the part that's going to sting a little. Staying stuck in the phase because you're afraid of what quitting means, that's not persistence, that's not dedication. That's sunk cost fallacy dressed up in trading jargon. Real persistence looks different. Real persistence means recognizing what's not working and having the courage to change it completely. The traders who escape the phase do something that feels counterintuitive. They stop trying to learn everything and start trying to master something. They pick one approach. Not because it's the best approach, not because it has the highest win rate, not because some guru on the internet swears by it. They pick it because it makes sense to them personally. It fits their personality, it fits their schedule, it fits their risk tolerance, and then they stick with it long enough to actually understand it. They stop looking for the perfect trade and start looking for their trade. They develop pattern recognition that goes beyond what any indicator can show. They start to feel the market instead of just analyzing it. They know when something feels right and when it feels off. They trust their process more than they trust their emotions. They become boring. They do the same thing every single day. Same routine, same preparation, same execution, same review, over and over and over. They get comfortable with losing because they understand that losing is part of the game. They don't spiral after a bad trade. They don't celebrate too hard after a good trade. They're flat, neutral. They've killed their ego. They've accepted that they can't control the market. They can only control themselves. And most importantly, they've stopped trying to get rich quick. That's the real killer in the phase. The timeline. Everyone wants to be profitable in 6 months. They want to quit their job in a year. They want to make life-changing money in 2 years. So they push, they force trades, they overtrade, they take too much risk, they blow up accounts. They start over, they blow up again, and the cycle continues, the traders who make it. They think in decades, not months. They risk small. They compound slowly. They focus on consistency, not home runs. They understand that trading is a marathon that never ends, not a sprint to some finish line where they can finally relax and count their money. They also do something else that seems simple but is actually revolutionary. They keep detailed records, not just of their trades but of their mental state, how they felt before the trade, how they felt during the trade, how they felt after the trade, what they were thinking, what they were afraid of, what they were hoping for. They turn trading into a scientific experiment where they are both the scientist and the subject. And slowly, over time, patterns emerge. They notice they always lose on Fridays because they're tired. They notice they trade better in the morning than the afternoon. They notice they make mistakes when they're trading out of boredom rather than opportunity. They notice they perform better with smaller size. They notice their best trades are the ones where they had to wait the longest for setup. They learn themselves, and that changes everything. Here's something that might shock you. The traders who finally escape the phase often don't even remember the exact moment it happened. There's no dramatic breakthrough, no light bulb moment. One day they just realize they've been consistently profitable for months. They're not fighting the markets anymore. They're not fighting themselves anymore. They're just trading. It became normal. The obsession faded. It became a good job, but still a job. The phase ends when you stop trying to conquer the markets and start trying to participate in them. It ends when you stop trying to prove something and start trying to improve something. It ends when you realize that trading isn't about being right. It's about making money when you're right and losing small when you're wrong. It ends when you become honest with yourself about what you're actually capable of right now, not what you wish you were capable of. If you're in the phase right now, I know what you're feeling. You're frustrated, you're tired, you're scared. You're wondering if you're wasting your time. You're wondering if you have what it takes. You're looking for a sign that you should keep going or that you should quit. Here's your sign. Stop learning and start doing. Pick one strategy. Give it 6 months of focused execution. Journal everything. Get brutally honest with yourself about your mistakes. Work on your psychology as much as your technical skills. Risk small enough that you can survive your learning curve. And most importantly, be patient with yourself. You're not broken. You're not stupid. You're just human. And becoming a consistently profitable trader is one of the hardest things a human can do. The phase doesn't last forever, but it lasts exactly as long as it needs to teach you what you need to learn. For some people, that's 2 years. For others, it's 10. There's no shortcut. There's no hack. There's just the work. The boring, repetitive, humbling work of becoming someone who can manage themselves under pressure while money is on the line. Most traders never escape the phase because they never accept what the phase is trying to teach them. They keep looking outside for answers that can only be found inside. They keep searching for strategies when what they really need is self-awareness. They keep trying to change the markets when what they need to change is themselves. So where are you? Still stuck or finally ready to do what it actually takes?